Hello guys, welcome back, and today we're talking about Fate Remnant Collide. And I'm really sorry that I didn't really make a video last time because for some odd reason, the video that I started making at the start, well, it didn't really didn't really you know, saved it on my phone. And because of that, I had to retry it, but I made it a bit too long. So yeah, I'm going to be making this video today. So yeah, I'm really sorry about yesterday, guys. So yeah, let's continue on with this episode. So, just like in the last episode, we currently see him getting ready for his hangout session with both Ruby and Yang. As while he finished up, eating breakfast at the cafeteria and saying goodbye to his mom, he would go into Vale. After arriving there, he would get a text message saying, we'll be meeting up in a nearby cafe. As after seeing the text, he would say, or at least text out, sure, which one? As she would say this, or at least, text it out. Somewhere near, somewhere near, dusk till dawn, she would, text out, as he would say this. Okay, fine. As after texting that out, he would start leaving to go to where dusk till dawn, or at least a cafe that's near dusk till dawn, there specifically. As after arriving at a, little like cafe there, that is, a few blocks away from dusk till dawn, he would sit down and order some drinks for himself, which was some, some simple tea and also some other stuff, like some pastries. So, after sitting down, he would go on the scroll and would start looking through the news. As while he was looking through the news, he would see apparently another, what's that called? SDC, which was an acronym for, Schnee Dust Company. One of their, you know, one of their like, one of their like trains or cargoes were basically just like well, one of their cargoes was like hijacked by a specific organization known as the White Fang. Apparently, the people, or at least the people that basically saw that happen, were a few Atlesian Atlesian bots and also some security cameras, which depicts two people. And by the way, this is like early in the timeline, so he's about 12, and imagine them being 12 at the time. Yeah, that's a bit much. So, as when he saw the footage, he would see, somewhat like, accurate photos of the, of the so called, people that stole the. Wait for a second. Supposedly, and I mean supposedly, stole the dust. So, when he saw it, he would see a picture of a woman with, with horns that resemble, I guess, yeah, cow horns, I guess. As she would be wearing a mask, or more specifically, a white fang mask. But the other seems to be a girl with also, with faunus like features, more specifically, cat ears. As she would also be wearing a, a full mask, or full, you know, grim mask, basically. After seeing it, he would say, I certainly feel bad for them. Well, mostly towards the White Bang. I mean, they're sort of misunderstood. After hearing about them, as you would be reminded with, the Shinee Dust Company's, supposed practices, he would somewhat believe it. I mean, have you seen back in his world, or at least the world that we came from, or at least the world that basically, that we live in? Trust me, it's bad. I'm, I'm, telling it from the truth. I mean, have you seen most of the shit that I always have to deal with? Anyway, continuing on with this episode, as when he saw, saw the headline saying, White Bang strikes again, he would say, whatever. Honestly, they do deserve it, he would say to himself. As when he saw, but when he said that, one of his servants, specifically one of the Valkyrie sisters, more specifically, or Linda, the dark-haired one over there with the reddish eyes, would say this. Hmm, so, Master, do you really hate them that much? As after saying that, he would say this. Yeah, trust me, those people are not good, especially if they're Atlesian. Not being racist here, but still. Their self-entitled asses basically get what they deserve. But I still feel bad for to some of the people that are trying to get the dust as well. As when he, but when he said that, one of them specifically, Emiya would say this. I do have to agree with him. All these oppressed faunuses just reminds me back to Earth, he would say. As one of them would say this, specifically Oda Nobunaga. Yeah, I could imagine, she would say. If you don't remember what they look like, well, Emiya looks like this. I know, this is Alter Emiya. I just like his design more. And also we have, Oda Nobunaga, if you've forgotten what she looks like. So, after, saying that, you would hear from one of his servants, aka, one of the, Valkyrie sisters, more specifically, Hildur. Don't know who's Hildur, it's the one with the, pinkish hair. Yeah, that one. Would say this. Hey, master, your friends are finally here, she would say. As he would say this. Thanks, Hildur, he would say. As after saying that, or at least in his mind, he would see the door opening, as he would see in the door, or at least, uh, you know, the people that are going inside, being that of Ruby and Yang. So, in this timeline of events, she's about 12 now, specifically Yang. And as for Ruby, let's just say, one, two, wait for a second. So she would be about 10 years old. Why not? So, after, coming in, they would say, hello there, they would say, as Rex would say this. Oh, hey Yang, hey Ruby, he would say, as one of them would say this, specifically Yang. So you ready? She would say, as he would say this. Yeah, just let me get my, my pastries and that, tea, he would say. As after saying that, he would get his tea, which was, for to go, and also the pastries, as he would start leaving with Yang and Ruby. So, they would start doing some, mostly going to like arcades, which, um, basically they were just having a bit of fun. Basically going through arcades, playing some games, even going into the park to basically play around a bit. As while they were doing that, Ruby was surprisingly clingy, a bit too clingy towards, Rex, which caused, Yang to basically like, tease Ruby. Which Ruby just like, started like shaking it off, saying, I just think he's just fine, she would say. As after, a bit of like, having fun and also going into an arcade again, which he would also get her like a plushie from a crane game, which she was pretty much happy about because the plushie in question is basically the shape of like a cookie. And if you're wondering what it looks like, well, imagine one of those like, like cookie plushes that had like this cute ass face. Which, after a while of basically going around, he would say this. Well, that was fun, he would say. As after saying that, one of them would say this, specifically Yang. So, wanna go to our house tonight? She would say. As he would say this. Really? Is your father okay with this? He would say. As she would say this. Don't worry. Just tell your mom that we're gonna be having a sleepover, she would say. As he would say this. Fine, he would say. As after, texting his mother, she would basically say, okay, honey, try not to cause any trouble for them. And I don't want you doing anything weird with them. Okay? You're too young for that. She would basically text out. As he would say this. Ugh, mom, don't think those sorts of things, he would say. As she would say this. Okay then. Just be careful, she would say. As he would say this. Okay, mom. And hope to see you tomorrow, he would basically text out. After doing so, he would pull back his, scroll, as he would basically give the thumbs up for, both Ruby and Yang. Yang was pretty much excited, saying, sleepover, she would say. And as for, Ruby, she was also excited, and also somewhat blushing. So, after doing so, they would start going into like a bullhead where they would start leaving to go back to Patch, which is their home. After arriving at Patch, he would see that their home is quite quaint. It seems to be just a simple cabin, as after he entered in, he would hear the sound of Tai Yang, or just Tai. So, when they heard Taeyang say, "Girls, you're finally back," but when he saw, well, Rex, he would say, um, mind telling me why did you bring a boy here? He would say, as he would start looking at Rex with, an angry glare, or at least somewhat an angry glare. As she would say this, specifically Yang, "Hey, Dad, you don't really need to do that. He's my classmate, and we sort of invited him for a sleepover," she would say. After hearing that, he would physically just like, "Did you say sleepover?" He would say, as, Yang would say this. "Yeah, we're sort of gonna, let him sleep here for now. I mean, it would just be, just this one time, Dad," she would say. As after hearing that, he would say this. "Fine, but he'll be sleeping," as she would say this. "Oh, don't worry, we'll be letting him sleep in our room." As when he heard that, he would say, "Okay, um, um, please, is your mother actually letting, sorry about that, is your mother actually, letting this happen?" As before taking anything else, you would hear the sound of a wheelchair basically, moving. As when, Rex looked over, he would see, supposedly, Yang and Ruby's mother? I mean, she definitely more looks like, well, you know, Ruby's mother than anything else. So, let me explain. In this world, Summer Rose basically, is alive in this one. But except, instead of being, quote unquote, dead in that universe, or at least in that timeline, instead, she's, well, after her mission, she kind of got her legs. Yeah, because of this, she no longer has the ability to walk or do anything. So she decided to just be a normal, you know, she decided to just be, a housewife basically. Well, is that, or at least, Ruby and Yang's dad basically, does some of the work. Well, she would decide to just like live her life as just a normal, wife, I guess you could say. As when she saw, Rex, she would say, "Ah, you must be Good Witch's, son," she would say, as you would say this. Yeah, nice to meet you. As she would say this, "Call me Summer. Summer Rose," she would say, as you would say this. Hello, Miss Rose," he would say, as she would say this. Hmm, so mind telling me why did you, why did both of you decide to bring this boy here, she would say, as both of them would say this. Mom, we just wanted to hang out, and we decided to have a sleepover here, both of them would say, as she would say this. "Hmm, very well, just get changed, okay?" As after saying that, she would look over towards Rex as she would say this. "You can just stay here for now." As when she said that, she would start moving her wheelchair as she would say this. Um, by the way, may I ask you something?" she would say, as he would say this. Yeah, Miss Rose," he would say, as she would say this. "So, how long have you and my daughters have been getting along for a while? Or at least have you been, doing anything with my daughters or something of that sort?" As he would say this. "Oh, we're just friends, doing some stuff together. I mean, we're basically like childhood friends at this point," he would say, as she would say this. "Hmm, I see," she would say. "Anyways, you can get ready. You can sleep in, both Yang and Ruby's room, okay?" As he would say this. Sure, ma'am," he would say. As after saying that, she would say this to, Ty, as she would say this. "Alright, Ty, let's get some shut eye already," she would say. As he would say this. "Oh, yes, honey," he would say. As after rubbing his, the back of his, head, as after saying that, they would start leaving. So, after that, we would currently see, we would basically time skip to him basically in the bedroom of both Yang and Ruby. As he would say this. "So, where should I," as both of them would say this. "Here," she would say, specifically, Ruby, as you would see both their beds are now combined to basically become one bed, as she would say this. "Come on, you can sleep in the middle," said, Yang, as you say this. Um, sure, he would say, as after doing so, he would be in the middle of the bed while, Ruby is basically holding onto his arm, while Yang is basically, hugging his body, like a freaking body pillow, as he would say this. Right, good night. As after saying that, both Ruby and Yang basically instantly fall asleep, while him, well, let's just say it's going to be a long night. As one of his servants would say this, specifically Emiya. Why do I, why am I having flashbacks, he would say. So yeah, so I'm gonna be ending this episode right off here. So yeah, bye bye.